In this video, we're going to be creating a few traps for our platformer game. You'll notice in the background here, I've added a background. That's going to be a separate video. I did make one, but I wasn't too happy with it, so I've made a few changes to that. In this video though, we're going to create a swinging trap that's going to hit the player. It's not actually going to do any damage yet. We'll sort those things out later, but it will register that it has hit the player. Later on, we're going to add in some checkpoints so that when the player dies, they'll go to the most recent checkpoint that they got. We'll add timers and other things, but this video is just going to focus on that trap. And we're not going to write a whole lot of code, to be honest. We're just going to have it start an animation and also register the player's hit. And so hopefully you'll start to see how Godot works with all these nodes coming together. So let's go ahead and create a new scene at the top here. And this is going to be a spatial node, which I'm going to call swinging trap. And I'm going to go ahead and add in a sprite node, and then also an area 2D node, and then under the area 2D, a collision polygon. We'll get back to that shortly. The last thing we'll add is an animation player. So just notice where everything is here. The swinging trap is just a spatial node. It just contains like a position in space. But we're going to actually use that to rotate in the game and also for animations. The sprite here is a child of the swinging trap node. The area 2D is a child of the swinging trap, but collision is a child of area and animation player. Let's go ahead and bring that sprite in. The sprite you're going to need is called trap suspended. It's quite a wide one, but I'm going to bring that into here. And we're going to go ahead and go texture. Yep, that's right. And then animation. And the horizontal frames, there are 18 frames in this. That's going to bring us to there. Now you're going to want to bring that down so that when we rotate it, it rotates around that point. Don't bring this one down. Bring this down so that the bottom of the sprite is at the center of there. Now the collision shape, I'm going to zoom in on it. This is a polygon, not just a normal shape. Now you could use a normal shape and it would be fine probably for our purposes, but I'm just going to show you how to use collision polygons here because this isn't exactly a square or a rectangle. So we're going to hit this plus button to create points, and we can create a whole lot of individual points here. We can just go around the outside. I'm not going to be terribly accurate. And you can just click and then create your own custom collision shape. Like that. You can move points with this and you can delete points with this, but I'm not 100% sure how to add points back in. So just be aware that if you delete points, I'm not going to go ahead and do that because I messed it up last time. But that's going to be our area node. The animation player, this is pretty straightforward. So for the animation player, we're going to make two animations actually. One is going to be just a normal animation. The other one's going to be kind of slightly off time. So let's go ahead and create this. This is going to be called swing. And we'll click OK. I'm going to go all the way back to the first frame here. And I'm going to go to the swinging trap and click on transform. And I'm going to keyframe this rotation degrees, but I'm going to turn it up to -104, and I'll hit that button there. I want to use Bezier curves for this, and you'll see why in a minute. So I'm going to click create. Sometimes it doesn't actually register that I've wanted to put the keyframe here, so I'm just going to click that again. Then I'm going to go to 1 second, set it to the other direction. Should be 104.1. Make sure you swing it the right way so that it actually does rotate there. Click that and then swing it back onto that last point. Turn it back to 104, that side, and click that. If I hit play now, I'm going to hit the loop button. Now I can see that, you can see that in the video. It's this little kind of recycly thing. So I'll hit that and hit that. It will swing backwards and forwards. And you can see it looks like it has some momentum now. That's because the Bezier curves will make it smooth in and smooth out. And we can see what these curves look like by hitting this button, which you can't actually see. So it's this one right here. I'm going to zoom in on this. I want to zoom in on the whole track. All right. So what we've got here, if I stop that, is the Bezier curve. So it kind of, the steeper it gets, the faster it goes. But I'm actually going to make it a little bit steeper. So I'm going to pull this one that way, and that one that way, and then that one that way, and that one that way. Now what this should do, hopefully, is if I hit play, it should look like it has more momentum. So that's the kind of output that we want. I think that's looking pretty good. I'll stop that. And now what we want to do is make it register that it's hit the player. So I'm going to go to the area, or no, I'm not. I'm going to go to here. I'm going to add in the code, create. And I realized I said we were going to make 2 animations. We actually only need the one. This one here, I'm going to create. We will make another one. We'll do that again in a sec. And we may actually just duplicate it in a separate object so that it swings the opposite direction. So this one here, it's going to have code on it. The function is just going to have here, animation player dot play swing. So that's going to start it playing at the start. And then we're going to add in, on area 2D, we're going to go over to node and look for body entered and connect. We can delete that, and we can say if body dot is in group player, then we'll just print player dead, like that. Now what does this code do here? When this signal is triggered by the area node, it sends this, it kind of executes this code, and it says, well, this is the body that I've collided with. So we can then check if that body that has just entered the area is in the group player. We'll print out player dead, and then we'll do something with it later on, not at the moment. So I'll go ahead to save this in my scenes folder and click save, and I'll click on world, and I'll go to 2D world, and I'll add in my swinging trap. I'll add one there. And I'll go ahead and add one there as well. Now the reason that that has gone like that is because I accidentally put it as a child of that one. So I'll just delete that node and bring it back in. So it's there, and put it there. All right, so I can test this, and we should see that they start playing and swinging, and they're really fast. So we could change that, and in this case I actually will. So I'll go back and I'll edit the animation node here. So I'll open up that, and it's probably this bit that's not quite right. It's just dropping down way too fast, and that is definitely my fault there. So let's just make sure that that's a bit better. Although I realize now what I've done wrong. I actually wanted this animation to be 2 seconds long. So I'm going to put that at 2, and then I'm just going to stop that. I'm going to move this one all the way to the end to 2. I'm going to move this one. I can actually hide. How do I hide that now? I won't worry about it. I'll just move this to 1, and then I'll make that wider, which is what I intended to do the first time around. I just forgot to actually set it to 2 seconds. So we have this really long. There we go. That's better. That will make it not quite so deadly. We'll go back to here, run that, and now I may actually be able to get through, except I've been dead several times there. That may actually be a more difficult challenge at the start of the map than is necessary. So think about that when you're designing your level in the future, how the player can actually get through, whether they can get through. But that's that for this video. The other animation I was going to do is pretty much exactly the same but reverse. So instead of it starting to the right, it would start to the left, and then it would swing out of sync with this one here. However, I'm not entirely sure that I couldn't just, is there an option on this to flip it horizontal? There probably is not. If I do scale -1 on the x-axis, what does that do, I wonder? Nope, but if I do that, -1 on the y-axis, does it swing the right way? It does go that way, so I could use that to rotate it, but I'm not sure why it wouldn't go -1 there, 1 there. Not 100% sure why that just doesn't flip on the x-axis, but that's okay. Well, it's got 0. Oh, that's got an animation on it there. That's why it's set like that for some reason. If I set that like that, -1, does it do the right way? No, it still goes that way. Okay, so in order to make one that goes the opposite direction, what I would do in this case is actually just duplicate it. For simplicity's sake, I would just duplicate this and make a completely different animation in there rather than do that. The code's going to be the same, the code will be exactly the same, but the animation would be different. Instead of starting at the right, I would start it at the left. And so you can do that because you don't want to have all of these like at random timings, because then when the player's playing the game, in terms of getting timings down, it's really difficult if there's a whole lot of things moving at different times around there. In a future video, we're going to do some spike traps and a few other kinds of traps that the player will come across, so stick around for those, and they should be up shortly.